The battered, faded Ford Cortina Mike V sat slumped in the uneven gravel driveway, a testament to time and countless forgotten miles. Its once lustrous blue paint had long since succumbed to the relentless sun and rain, flaking in patches to reveal a patchwork of rust beneath. The front bumper bore the scars of unseen skirmishes, perpetually askew, and the exhaust pipe emitted a wheezing rattle that seemed to mourn its own existence. Inside, the worn upholstery, once a plush velvet, was now threadbare in places, smelling faintly of old oil, forgotten coffee, and the unique musty aroma of aged automotive leather. Most mornings it was a test of faith and mechanical sympathy, coughing to life with a reluctant sputter, only to stall moments later at the first traffic light, demanding Liam O'Connell's immediate and patient intervention. For Liam O'Connell, the Cortina wasn't just a car. It was his mobile workshop, his office, and his often frustrating partner in his fledgling roadside repair business. He was a young mechanic, barely out of his 20s, with calloused hands and a perpetually grease-stained t-shirt. He possessed a kind heart and an unwavering optimism that often seemed at odds with his financial struggles. His mobile repair service, Liam's Fix-It Fast, was built on reliability and trust, but the Cortina's constant temperamental fits often tested both. He relied on it completely, his modest livelihood tied to its erratic heartbeat. One blustery Thursday, as Liam was heading home after a long day of repairs, he spotted Mrs. Gable, an elderly neighbor known for her meticulously kept rose garden, struggling to load a broken antique bird bath into the back of her tiny sedan. Her back was hunched with the effort, and a sigh of frustration escaped her lips. Despite the Cortina's own sputtering protests, Liam pulled over. "Need a hand, Mrs. Gable?" he called out, a genuine smile on his face. Without a second thought, he hoisted the heavy, ornate bird bath into her car, securing it carefully. He even offered to come by the next day to take a look at her ailing lawnmower, a task he knew would take time he barely had, and for which he wouldn't charge a dime. This small, unsolicited act of kindness, a quiet demonstration of his inherent goodness and resilience, reinforced reader support for Liam, subtly contrasting his character with the superficial judgments others might make about him and his dilapidated vehicle. The Cortina, for all its outward frailties, possessed a peculiar, almost stubborn loyalty. Despite its frequent mechanical protests, the sputtering engine, the grinding gears, the sudden terrifying lurches, it always managed to get Liam where he needed to be. Whether it was limping the last mile to a stranded motorist, or miraculously sparking to life just as a desperate call came in, the car always seemed to muster just enough power to fulfill its purpose. It was a temperamental, rusty friend, perpetually on the verge of collapse, yet always defying expectations, showcasing its own unyielding spirit and a hidden strength that belied its outward condition. This surprising reliability, a stubborn refusal to fully give up, served as the car's quiet, save-the-cat moment. Beneath the Cortina's worn dashboard, near the glove compartment, a curious detail lingered, usually obscured by dust and Liam's various repair tools. It was a small, ornate metal crest, subtly incorporated into the plastic trim. Unlike the standard Ford emblem, this crest featured a stylized, almost heraldic falcon with an intricate, swirling tail, its eyes seemingly cast in miniature rubies. It was exquisitely crafted, a piece of unexpected artistry on an otherwise utilitarian panel, and it bore no resemblance to any Ford branding Liam had ever seen. He'd often noticed it, a fleeting anomaly that felt out of place, but he'd always dismissed it as a quirky aftermarket addition by a previous owner. He'd never really examined it closely, never tried to understand its origin. This subtly introduced the seeds of mystery, an overlooked detail hinting at the car's hidden value and unique past, laying the groundwork for its later, grand revelation. The delicate balance of Liam's struggling mobile repair business, already precarious, began to tilt precariously under the weight of the Cortina's escalating rebellion. The casual inconveniences of a sputtering engine or a stubborn start quickly transformed into a direct threat to his livelihood. The first major blow struck on a chilly Tuesday morning. Liam was en route to his most lucrative client, a precision engineering firm that relied on his punctual maintenance of their specialized machinery. Halfway there, the Cortina, with a dramatic lurch and a cacophony of grinding metal, simply died. The engine seized with a sickening finality, Liam, stranded on the shoulder of a bustling highway, spent agonizing hours attempting a fix, but the transmission, the very heart of the old car's locomotion, had finally given out. He missed the appointment. The firm, understanding but firm, informed him they'd have to find a more reliable contractor. This critical engine failure, directly impacting his income and reputation, was the personalized inciting incident, transforming the car's condition from a nuisance into an urgent, existential crisis for Liam. Liam's immediate reaction was a profound wave of frustration and despair. He leaned against the dead Cortina, wiping grease from his brow, his usual optimism momentarily extinguished. "That's it, old girl," he muttered, kicking a flat tire. "You've officially broken me." The thought of finally giving up on the car, of seeking a loan for a newer, more reliable vehicle, gnawed at him. The shiny sedan zipping past seemed to mock his rusty predicament. But the idea of a new car, with its daunting monthly payments, felt like a cruel joke in his meager budget. His deep-seated attachment to the Cortina, the years of shared experiences, the countless small victories against its mechanical obstinacy, warred with the stark reality of his financial inability to afford a replacement. This internal conflict, a desperate yearning for stability against his ingrained loyalty, raged within him. Yet, even in his despair, a stubborn resolve flickered. He'd always prided himself on understanding the quirks of old machines, of breathing life back into forgotten engines. There had to be a reason for the Cortina's persistent, almost malicious temperament. It felt like more than just old age. This desperate need to find a solution, to truly understand the car's persistent problems, awakened a deeper, almost obsessive drive within him. He dragged the Cortina back to his small garage, determined to dissect its ailments piece by piece. The point of no return arrived a few days later, a stark, unwelcome reminder of his predicament. A past due notice for his workshop rent arrived, followed by an urgent call from the local clinic regarding an overdue medical bill for his elderly aunt, for whom he was a primary caregiver. The numbers glared back at him from the crumpled envelopes. Impossible without consistent income. Liam realized he could not make these crucial payments if the Cortina remained a glorified paperweight. He needed a radical solution, not just another patch-up. He began a deep, almost forensic inspection of the car. He stripped away panels, pulled back carpets, and peered into every dark crevice. It was during this painstaking process that he discovered it, a bizarre, inexplicable anomaly. Tucked away beneath the back seat, barely visible even with a flashlight, was a section of non-standard wiring harness. It was unlike any factory wiring, far too thick and insulated for a car of this vintage, and it snaked its way not to any known electrical component, but towards the trunk, disappearing into the metalwork of the frame. He traced it, his fingers brushing against a barely perceptible seam in the trunk's floor, a thin line that shouldn't have been there. He tapped it. It produced a hollow sound, unlike the solid thud of the surrounding metal. A hidden panel. This concrete, undeniable anomaly made it impossible for Liam to simply patch up the car and resume his old routine. He ran his hand over the strange seam, a chill prickling his arm. This wasn't a repair job. It was an archaeological dig. He now had to actively seek a deeper understanding of this peculiar vehicle, knowing that his financial survival, his ability to care for his aunt, and the very existence of the Cortina were at stake. This discovery pulled him into a conflict that hinted at a hidden secret, making the resolution unavoidable. The old car wasn't just a breakdown, it was a mystery, and Liam, unknowingly, was about to uncover a truth far grander than a simple faulty transmission. Liam spent the next few days in a state of agitated fascination, his mobile repair business put on hold, his financial worries temporarily overshadowed by the enigma of the Cortina. The strange wiring harness and the faint seam in the trunk consumed his thoughts. He carefully dismantled more of the interior, tracing the wires, his fingers brushing against dust and the forgotten detritus of decades. His intention was still to find a mechanical explanation for the car's stubborn defiance, to fix it properly, not to unearth a hidden treasure. As he meticulously removed the back seat and a section of the trunk lining, he found himself staring at a slightly raised panel in the floor, perfectly camouflaged by the aging metalwork. It was barely distinguishable, its edges so finely cut they seemed to melt into the surrounding steel. He remembered the unusual falcon crest on the dashboard, the one that seemed too elegant for the car's humble origins. A wild hunch, fueled by desperation and a mechanic's intuition, nudged him. He pressed gently on the crest. Nothing. He twisted it, first left, then right. With a soft, almost imperceptible click, the panel in the trunk, that mysterious false bottom, smoothly slid open. Inside, nestled in a shallow, felt-lined cavity, were not spare parts or a forgotten tire iron, but a collection of unexpected, anachronistic items. There was a rolled-up, faded blueprint, its delicate lines showing an engine design unlike anything Liam had ever seen. Complex, impossibly sleek, with notations in an elegant, almost calligraphic script he couldn't decipher. Beside it lay a small leather-bound journal, its pages filled with the same intricate handwriting, interspersed with sketches of what appeared to be revolutionary automotive components. And finally, gleaming faintly in the dim light of the garage, was an exquisitely crafted solid silver emblem. A more detailed three-dimensional version of the falcon crest from the dashboard, its ruby eyes glinting with an almost lifelike intensity. This was the initial, controlled unveiling of the car's hidden secret to Liam, confirming his burgeoning suspicion that this worn-out sedan was far more than met the eye. Only Liam witnessed this initial revelation. He stood transfixed, the blueprint unrolling in his trembling hands, the silver emblem cool against his palm. He was utterly bewildered, then a spark of profound intrigue ignited within him. This wasn't just a faulty transmission or old wiring. This was a mystery, a secret history hidden within the very frame of his vehicle. The level of craftsmanship of the emblem, the sophistication of the engine design in the blueprint, they were utterly out of place for a common Ford Cortina Make-A-V. They hinted at a past far grander, a story he was only just beginning to piece together. Liam knew he was out of his depth. He needed help, an expert opinion on what he had found. He thought of his rival, Flash Fitzgerald, the owner of Flashy Fixes, the biggest, most modern garage in town. Fitzgerald was a self-proclaimed car guru, known for his flashy garage, his expensive tools, and his dismissive attitude towards old junk. He drove a brand-new sports car, and his social media feed was full of thinly veiled jabs at smaller, less professional operations like Liam's. Fitzgerald was arrogant, but he was undeniably knowledgeable about cars. The next morning, Liam, with the rolled-up blueprint and the silver emblem tucked carefully into a satchel, walked into Flashy Fixes. The garage gleamed, all chrome and polished concrete, a stark contrast to Liam's humble space. Fitzgerald, with his perfectly coiffed hair and a smirk permanently etched on his face, was leaning against a gleaming new muscle car, holding court with a couple of customers. "Well, well, if it isn't Liam Rustbucket O'Connell," Fitzgerald drawled, his voice dripping with condescension. "Lost your way, Liam? Or has that prehistoric contraption of yours finally given up the ghost for good?" He chuckled, and his customers snickered, their eyes flicking dismissively to Liam's oil-stained work pants. Liam ignored the taunts. "Flash, I need your opinion on something. I was doing some work on my Cortina, and I found these." He carefully pulled out the blueprint and the silver emblem. They were in a hidden compartment in the trunk. "What do you make of them?" Fitzgerald took the blueprint, a condescending smile still on his face. His eyes scanned the intricate lines, then narrowed. The smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of confusion. He picked up the silver emblem, turning it over in his hand. His brow furrowed. "What is this, Liam? Some kind of joke? A fake?" He snorted. "This engine design, it's too advanced for that old heap. And this crest, it looks like something from a fantasy novel. You've been staring at that rust bucket too long, pal. Losing your mind, are we?" He laughed, a loud, booming sound that drew the attention of more customers. "Hidden compartment. Next, you'll be telling me it flies. Liam, you're clearly desperate. Go home, fix your jalopy with duct tape, and stop wasting my time with your delusions." He tossed the blueprint and the emblem back onto the counter with a dismissive clatter. This act of public dismissal and outright mockery, delivered with a sneer of superiority, firmly established Flash Fitzgerald as the misguided antagonist, Type B. His arrogance and ingrained prejudice against anything old or seemingly ordinary prevented him from recognizing the true value of what lay before him. He saw Liam's claims as a pathetic attempt at relevance from a struggling rival, reinforcing his own inflated self-image. He even took to his garage's social media later that day, posting a thinly veiled comment about some people seeing things in rusty metal, further attempting to discredit Liam and his delusions. This public ridicule actively hindered the discovery of the car's true identity, setting the stage for a confrontation where not just the car's worth, but Liam's very professional credibility was at stake. Flash Fitzgerald's sneering laughter, amplified by his carefully curated social media posts, became the unwelcome soundtrack to Liam's days. The humiliation stung, but it also hardened Liam's resolve. Fitzgerald might dismiss the Cortina as a rust bucket, but Liam knew, with a certainty that hummed in his bones, that something extraordinary lay beneath its faded exterior. His financial woes, far from diminishing, pressed down harder. The workshop rent was overdue, and his aunt's medical bills were piling up. He needed more than a hunch. He needed proof. The perfect symbolic arena for the ultimate test presented itself in the form of the annual Riverside Classic Car Show and charity auction. It was the biggest automotive event in the region, drawing enthusiasts, collectors, and media from miles around. Flashy Fixes was a major sponsor, and Fitzgerald himself was slated to be a judge, preening over gleaming muscle cars and pristine antiques. Liam initially had no intention of attending, knowing the event would be a showcase for everything his struggling business and decrepit car were not. However, a local reporter, a kind-hearted woman named Sarah Jenkins, who had heard whispers of Liam's quiet integrity, approached him. "Liam," she'd said, "I know you're struggling, but the auction has a community spotlight slot this year. Local businesses can display. It's a chance to get your name out there." Liam had scoffed, pointing to the sputtering Cortina. "With this, I'd be a laughingstock." Sarah, however, had a twinkle in her eye. Sometimes the most interesting stories aren't the ones that gleam the brightest. Sometimes they're the ones hidden under a little rust. Her words resonated with Liam. The car show, usually a place of disdain, transformed into a potential stage, a chance to prove Fitzgerald wrong and perhaps save his livelihood. In this decisive moment of confrontation, Liam stood largely alone. Sarah Jenkins offered moral support, even a small, sympathetic smile, but she was a journalist seeking a story, not a mechanic to help him troubleshoot. Fitzgerald, meanwhile, rallied his crew and his online followers, subtly spreading rumors about Liam's participation, portraying it as a desperate, pathetic stunt. "Poor Liam," he'd posted, "bringing his broken-down relic to a show for real cars. Hope he's got a tow truck on speed dial." The core battle of wits, mechanical intuition, and presenting irrefutable proof was solely Liam's. He had to rely on his deep, newfound understanding of the car's hidden mechanisms and his unwavering belief in its true nature to prevail against the ridicule and skepticism that he knew would come. The time pressure was immense. The car show was tomorrow, and Liam had spent the last week meticulously examining every detail of the blueprint and the journal. He knew the hidden compartment was only one secret. The blueprint hinted at a revolutionary, almost fantastical engine design, one that could only be activated by a specific, complex sequence. The journal, though cryptic, hinted at a master switch, a key to unleashing the car's true potential. But the Cortina itself was showing alarming signs of imminent, final failure. As he worked late into the night, the engine would sporadically sputter, letting out ominous clunks, threatening to seize up completely. Smoke would sometimes curl from beneath the hood, smelling of burning oil and imminent disaster. He had a narrow window, perhaps a few hours, to execute his plan and reveal the car's true identity before it completely broke down in public, ruining his reputation and condemning the car to the junkyard. Fitzgerald, sensing Liam's desperation, decided to amplify the pressure. He publicly challenged Liam on his garage's social media, announcing a side contest at the car show. The ugliest car that can still start. The prize, a single worthless participation trophy. The real aim was humiliation. If Liam's rust bucket can even make it through that display without needing a crane, I'll eat my fancy wrench, he gloated. The clock was ticking not just for the car but for Liam's entire career. The dramatic irony hung heavy in the air. The thousands of attendees and the buzzing media, anticipating a display of polished chrome and roaring engines, were utterly oblivious to the true hidden legend lurking beneath the rust of Liam's unassuming Cortina and the impending revelation that would shake the very foundations of automotive history. The Riverside Classic Car Show buzzed with the polished gleam of chrome and the throaty rumble of perfectly tuned engines. Thousands milled about, admiring vintage beauties, muscle car beasts, and exotic supercars. Flash Fitzgerald, resplendent in a custom-tailored suit, held court near his expansive Flashy Fixes display, basking in the adoration of a small crowd. His eyes, however, kept flicking towards the far, neglected corner of the lot where Liam's Ford Cortina sat, looking less like a classic and more like a derelict. This was the bated breath moment for Liam and the Cortina. The humiliation Fitzgerald had orchestrated was palpable, the crowd oblivious to the seismic shift about to occur. And now, Fitzgerald boomed into a microphone he'd inexplicably acquired, seizing the attention of a nearby news crew. For our special Ugliest Car contest, let's see if our brave contender, Mr. Liam O'Connell, can even get his specimen to cough to life. A few scattered laughs rippled through the crowd, their eyes turning towards the rusty Cortina. Liam, his hands trembling slightly, stood by the driver's side door. The humiliation burned, but it also sharpened his focus. Barkley, who had miraculously managed to sneak in under a canvas tarp, whimpered softly, sensing Liam's distress. The engine, with a final, heartbreaking wheeze, sputtered once more, then died, emitting a faint plume of acrid smoke. Fitzgerald's smirk widened, and he gestured theatrically. "Well, folks, looks like the rust bucket has officially achieved critical mass." "Not yet, Flash." Liam's voice, though strained, cut through the mockery. He remembered the cryptic sequence from the journal, the blueprint's impossible engine design, and the subtle click of the hidden compartment. He knew this was his only chance. He flung open the driver's side door. With a deliberate, almost ritualistic motion, he reached under the dashboard, his fingers brushing past the mundane wiring until they found the unusual falcon crest. He twisted it, precisely as the journal had instructed. 2 clicks right, 1 click left, a firm push. Nothing. Despair flickered in his eyes. "Give it up, Liam," Fitzgerald crowed, moving closer, microphone in hand. "It's just an old car, a very, very dead old car." Just as all hope seemed lost, as the crowd began to murmur and drift away, Liam noticed something he'd missed in his frantic efforts. A tiny, almost invisible indentation beneath the crest, no larger than his thumbnail. He pressed it. With a soft, almost ethereal hum, a section of the dashboard near the center console retracted silently, revealing a small, intricately designed console of polished brass and gleaming dials, completely out of place in the Cortina's worn interior. This was the master switch from the journal. A collective gasp swept through the immediate onlookers. Fitzgerald's jaw dropped, his mic almost slipping from his hand. The news camera zoomed in. Liam, with practiced precision, followed the blueprint's instructions, manipulating a series of small, unlabeled levers and buttons on the brass console. He pressed a large, central, sapphire-colored button. Instead of the usual cough, the Cortina's engine roared to life with a deep, powerful growl that vibrated through the ground, a sound utterly alien to its battered exterior, a pure, refined mechanical symphony that belonged to a high-performance, precision-engineered machine, not a 40-year-old family sedan. The rattle in the muffler was gone, replaced by a low, resonant purr. The exhaust fumes, instead of acrid smoke, smelled faintly of ozone and something akin to clean electricity. "What in the—" Fitzgerald stammered, utterly flabbergasted. Liam then executed the final, most dramatic step. He pressed a sequence of 3 buttons on the new console, simultaneously turning the steering wheel precisely 30 degrees to the left. With a nearly inaudible whir, a section of the car's rusted hood, just above the grille, retracted silently, revealing not a Ford engine, but a complex, gleaming, compact power core that pulsed with a faint blue light, exactly as depicted in the faded blueprint. It was a revolutionary, unheard-of hybrid engine, decades ahead of its time, a piece of engineering marvel hidden beneath layers of rust and mundane appearance. The Silver Falcon emblem, retrieved from the trunk, had been designed to fit precisely into a slot on this exposed engine block, a final, undeniable signature. The crowd erupted. From skeptical murmurs, their faces transformed into expressions of sheer disbelief, then wide-eyed wonder, and finally, a roar of astonished applause. People surged forward, their phones held high, desperate to capture the impossible. It's a prototype! A renowned car historian, Dr. Eris Thorne, who had been a judge at the show, exclaimed, pushing through the crowd. His eyes were wide with a mixture of scholarly awe and childlike wonder. The legendary Falcon Project, thought to be lost forever. This isn't just a car, it's a piece of automotive history. The impossible engine. Flash Fitzgerald stood frozen, his face a sickly shade of green, his jaw slack. The microphone slipped from his numb fingers, clattering to the ground. He had just publicly mocked and dismissed a true museum piece, the mythical Falcon Project prototype, a vehicle whispered about in the highest echelons of collector circles as a lost legend. His arrogant pronouncements about Liam's rust bucket now echoed with humiliating irony. His professional reputation, built on superficial gleam and bluster, had just imploded, exposed as hollow. The crowd's cheers for Liam and the roaring engine of the Cortina were a deafening testament to Fitzgerald's profound and public misjudgment. The vindication was absolute, confirming Liam's victory not just as a personal triumph, but as a profound public recognition of true value, courage, and the triumph of intuition and perseverance over ingrained bias and superficial judgment. The triumphant roar of the Falcon Project engine, so impossibly potent for its unassuming shell, drowned out the last vestiges of Flash Fitzgerald's shattered pride. The crowd, a buzzing tableau of astonishment and newfound respect, swarmed around Liam and the miraculous Cortina. Fitzgerald, visibly deflated, slunk away from his once booming display, his flashy fixes banner now seeming to mock his own hubris. The very foundations of his self-proclaimed expertise had just been shaken to their core. For Liam, the immediate aftermath was a whirlwind of stunned congratulations and flashing cameras. The emotional release was overwhelming, a tidal wave of relief washing over years of quiet struggle and dismissal. The old Cortina, no longer a source of frustration, but a gleaming symbol of vindication, hummed softly, a contented purr beneath its newly opened hood. The antagonist's downfall was swift and public, though for Type B it was more about shattered pride than legal repercussions. Humiliated by the undeniable proof and the collective awe of the crowd, Flash Fitzgerald found himself shunned by the very enthusiasts he had sought to impress. His once booming social media presence, filled with his boasts and thinly veiled insults, was now a digital graveyard of mocking comments and pointed questions about his expertise. A few days later, still reeling, he approached Liam at his modest garage. His usual swagger was gone, replaced by a defeated slump. "Liam," Fitzgerald mumbled, avoiding eye contact, I was wrong. About everything. About your car. About you. I let my pride get the better of me. I'm sorry." It wasn't a grand, eloquent apology, but its sincerity was palpable. His arrogance had been profoundly shaken, leaving behind a raw, unvarnished humility. As a concrete action to express his remorse, Fitzgerald offered Liam a substantial discount on any parts or equipment he might need from Flashy Fixes, and, perhaps more surprisingly, offered to spread the word about Liam's unique talent and newfound specialty within the classic car community. It was a clear sign that his ingrained bias against the old and unconventional had crumbled. The most significant new opportunity for Liam and the car was far more profound than just financial gain. Dr. Eris Thorne, the renowned car historian, immediately recognized the Cortina for what it was, a priceless piece of automotive history. He brokered a deal for the car to be meticulously restored and housed as the centerpiece exhibit in the prestigious National Automotive Museum, ensuring its legacy and preservation. Liam, in turn, was not merely compensated. He was offered a coveted position as the lead restoration specialist for the museum's new Lost Legends division, tasked with identifying and preserving other historically significant overlooked vehicles. He was no longer a struggling local mechanic, but a revered expert, his intuition and dedication finally recognized on a national stage. Weeks later, Liam sat in his now organized garage, the scent of oil and possibility hanging in the air. Dr. Thorne joined him, sipping coffee, the low hum of a classic engine he was currently restoring filling the comfortable silence. "You know, Liam," Dr. Thorne began, setting down his mug, "when I first heard about your rust bucket and its hidden engine, I was skeptical, just like everyone else. It defied all known history, all logical progression." He gestured towards the neatly stacked tools. "But you saw something. You felt something. What was it?" Liam leaned back, a thoughtful expression on his face. "It wasn't just about the mechanics, Doctor. It was a feeling, a stubbornness. The way it always almost gave up, but then pulled through. And that little falcon crest, it just felt like it belonged to something more. I guess I just believed in its hidden story, even when I didn't know what it was." Their reflective dialogue was quiet, deeply emotional. It highlighted the intricate journey they had shared, the unexpected twists of fate, and the profound lessons learned about the dangers of superficial judgment, the enduring value of perseverance, and the hidden stories often found in the most unassuming packages. "That's the real magic, Liam," Dr. Thorne replied, a genuine admiration in his voice. "Seeing the potential where others see only wear and tear, believing in the legend, even when it's buried under decades of rust. Your journey with that Cortina, it's a testament to patience, and to the fact that true value often hides in plain sight." Liam nodded, a quiet contentment settling over him. His life had taken an extraordinary turn, all thanks to a broken-down car and a hidden secret. He was no longer merely fixing engines. He was uncovering history, preserving legacies, and, in a profound way, finally building his own. The new calm was not the absence of effort, but the profound peace that comes from embracing a full, authentic truth, even when it demands arduous struggles and unexpected revelations. His journey of rebuilding was just beginning, but it was a journey taken with open eyes and a newfound understanding of the hidden legends that reside in the most unlikely of places. 2 years later, the once battered Ford Cortina, codenamed the Falcon Project, gleamed under the soft lights of its dedicated exhibit at the National Automotive Museum. Its blue paint, meticulously restored to its original deep luster, reflected the hushed awe of visitors. The infamous dented bumper was smoothed, the peeling paint a distant memory. The faint scent of old oil was replaced by the subtle, clean aroma of polished metal and historical preservation. It no longer sputtered. It stood, a silent testament to a hidden legend, occasionally started up for special demonstrations, its revolutionary engine purring with a quiet, refined power that mesmerized all who heard it. Liam O'Connell, no longer the struggling mechanic, was now a respected and sought-after expert. His small garage had transformed into O'Connell's Restoration, a specialized workshop dedicated to unearthing and meticulously restoring forgotten automotive prototypes and historically significant vehicles. He worked closely with museums and private collectors, his intuition for hidden value now legendary in the automotive world. His hands, once constantly stained with common grease, now delicately handled priceless artifacts, imbued with the knowledge of their secret histories. Liam lived a vibrant, meaningful, and genuinely purposeful life, his financial struggles a distant, almost forgotten memory, replaced by the profound satisfaction of preserving history and uncovering beauty where others saw only rust. Liam was deeply committed to paying it forward. Drawing from his own journey, he established the O'Connell's Unseen Value Scholarship, an annual program that provided aspiring young mechanics from disadvantaged backgrounds with full tuition for specialized classic car restoration courses. He also ran a highly popular mentorship program at his workshop, taking on a handful of apprentices each year. He didn't just teach them technical skills, he instilled in them the importance of looking beyond superficial appearances, of understanding the stories that objects and people hold within them. Every vehicle has a history, he would tell them, and sometimes the most valuable ones are the ones that don't immediately scream for attention. On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, Liam stood beside the perfectly restored Falcon Project at the museum. A small group of his current apprentices, bright-eyed and eager, listened intently as he described the car's remarkable journey. He recounted its decades of anonymity, the constant breakdowns, the mockery, and the miraculous moment the hidden console was revealed. He pointed to the gleaming, three-dimensional silver Falcon emblem, now proudly mounted on the engine block, its ruby eyes seeming to wink in the museum lighting. This car, Liam said, his voice imbued with a quiet reverence, was dismissed, overlooked, and almost scrapped. But beneath all the rust and the ordinary, it held a secret that changed everything. He gently ran his hand over the car's sleek, restored fender. The Falcon Project, now fully recognized in all its legendary glory, gleamed under the museum lights, a silent, powerful testament to overlooked greatness. It was a tangible symbol of Liam's journey, a reflection of the profound truth he had discovered. That true value, like true potential, often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone with the vision and the courage to see beyond the surface. If this story stirred your heart, if it reminds you that courage can alter destinies and that light always finds a path even in the deepest darkness, please leave a comment. Share this story with those who need inspiration. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss our upcoming stories.